Hey everybody, it's Dustin Garvin here, and as always, my buddy Jeffrey Fox here on the 15th episode of Tell Us About Yourself. And today's guest is none other than Ricky Riot, aka, or actually I said it backwards, but aka Chris Pate. How's it going, buddy?
It's going good, man. It's going good. Trying to survive.
Ain't we all?
Living the dream.
I saw a thing last night. I'm just gonna say real quick. It said that we are finally in the fourth quarter of the 2020. I just hope we're playing the Falcons.
Oh, no. We're hoping we're playing the Lions because they can blow any fourth quarter lead.
but uh, but man, how's everything going up there? Pretty
It's
good.
good. It's good. Everything's open back up, so we can go out to the bars now, and it may or may not be a good thing. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. But I'll still be playing Super Show every weekend anyway, so it doesn't really matter to me.
I hear that, and I was just gonna start off real quick and talk to you about when did you first, because I think you've been playing actually longer than I have, because I remember seeing you as I was starting into the game. How long you been playing?
Well, first, let me ask you a question. Let me flip the script here. Is this a PG-13, or am I allowed to drop a few curses here and there?
It is. It is for mature audiences.
Okay, I will try to restrain myself, but I digress. So I started 2015. I found out about the game from a buddy of mine because he saw the Kickstarter and he was like, "Oh, I want to check out this game." I believe it was Gen Con. It was Gen Con or Origins. Was one of those two. And I, at the time, was cosplaying as Macho Man, and I was like, you know what? Maybe I can check the game out. Maybe show up as Macho Man. Make their event a little more special. Maybe get some people eyes in the game. And went up there, talked to Steve. Got the game demoed for me. There was a guy named John. He kind of looks like GM John Calais, but he wasn't wearing a suit, so I don't think it was him. But I loved the game, and I immediately bought a starter deck. I didn't open the deck, but they were like, "Oh, don't worry about it. We'll get you started on, if you show up, we'll give you a deck and we'll send you on your way." I went, I took pictures. It was a great time. Actually, my first competitor I played in a tournament was Gold Standard, and I lost to Pat Mulligan because I tried to deck out to win. So it wasn't the smartest play out there. So I think my game has gotten a little better as I go on. I mean, I played all sorts of competitors. The new one came out, I pick it up, and I actually only played maybe 2-3 times a year just because I only played at Origin and Gen Con, but that's what I did at Origin and Gen Con. I'd show up dressed as Macho Man, I'd find a new competitor they had come out, I'd play it. I didn't care if I won, lost, or anything else. I just enjoyed it and had a good time. So, funny thing is, Sean started about the same time, my tag team partner, the Dangerous Alliance, and we actually lived in the same city, but we never played or met each other until many, many years later. So it would have been a very different situation, I think, for the tag team division if we met, 4 years prior.
And I'm glad you mentioned dressing up as Macho Man. That's the first thing I was actually gonna bring. I was gonna ask you. It seemed like you were a big wrestling fan, of course. I just remember you dressing up as Macho Man, and you had your wristbands, you had your hat,
Oh yeah.
shirt, you were all decked out.
Oh no, that was great. There's an amazing promo that is was lost, where it was a promo with me as dressed as Macho Man, and the guest referee was El Super Hombre. I actually lost to Pagillo. He never lets me win it, live it down. Where I was playing Ricochet at the time, and I still had no idea what I was doing because I played 2 times a year, didn't know. I decimated in turn rolls, just kept botching the finish. and because it was El Super Hombre, so I couldn't pin him. And there was a a backstage promo with Calais and I, where I'm like threatening him to beat him up and stuff, and it was a great promo. Probably one of the first ones I did, but there was a situation with the camera guy, and that it went it went away with him. So it's unfortunate, but it was fun. I really loved shooting promos as Macho Man and just hanging out at the booth, and people would be like, "Oh my gosh, there's Macho Man!" And then like they'd come up and they'd find out about the game, and they're like, "Oh, you play like this?" I'm like, "Yeah, the game's great. It's you do everything but wrestle. Instead of you shoot promos and you talk smack, and the only thing you don't do is wrestle, and you play a card game instead. So it's great." So I really like the ability to bring people in just dressed as Macho Man. So
We do have a question from the Twitch chat on those regards. They want to know if you can snap into a Slim Jim for them.
oh yeah, Macho Man is coming at you. Cream always rises to the top.
That was great. Also, Jeffrey Fox, if you don't care, I was just also going to say it. We're also raffling for those that are following us on Twitch. We're raffling 2 cards today, the All American Drop and the Back Rake foils. We are going to start raffling every show just to let y'all know. Sorry about that, Chris. I forgot to mention that
worry
before
about
the
it.
start.
Yeah, it shows up on Twitch. A reminder keeps popping up for them to enter.
Okay.
So.
Sorry, I'm still new to all that.
Yeah, so. No, that's fine.
Sorry about that, Chris.
Well, so am I, which is why it still talks about Talk of the Universe and the Dojo Mafia, because I forgot to fix that part of it. But yeah.
But now, Chris, also, there's also, I like to start out with hard questions.
Okay.
I'm hearing a lot of rumors that you're going to be Player of the Year of 2020.
You know what? The last time somebody said I was going to be Player of the Year, it was this big fiasco, and I had to read a 14-page dissertation by John P. about why I shouldn't be Player of the Year. I don't know. Honestly, real talk. At the beginning of the lockdown, I was still working on X-Royce, and I actually had played it to a okay record at the event in Chicago. I took, Booker to like crowd meter 3 at an event at Rust Belt. Couple maybe 3 or 4 weeks before the event, before lockdown. So I kind of decided that I was just going to run X-Royce, run into the ground, find out every single, decision tree, figure out the perfect plays for it, and figure out, what cards work, what cards don't, figure out how to win in a Ring of Fire match, how to win in a, in a Liger's Den match, figure out what to do when all my stats match up and I have to play aggressively, because for some reason, I just switch my complete styles and I can't play aggressively now. So I just figured I'd just put myself to the ringer, and in doing so, became more and more comfortable with the deck, more and more quicker to think, if I flip 25, 26, 27, what decisions do I have to make based on their competitor, my competitor, and what's in my hand? Which one do I put in the bottom? Which one do I put in my hand? And which one do I put in the bottom? Put in the discard. And I think in doing that, I kind of started looking at the game differently. And, X-Royce, great competitor, great finisher. But it definitely did help me kind of more strategically look at the game, realize that the game wasn't just turn rolls. It was the longer you played, it went from a game of tic-tac-toe to checkers to chess. And I think just playing all those games with one competitor, perfect it, not only figuring out what cards went well in a deck, but why they went well in a deck. Why I would play face stretch and finger lock instead of face stretch and face stretch and abdominal stretch. Like it's, those things that I kind of figured out because I played so much X-Royce, I was able to have that as have no other variables other than the same deck over and over again in situations. And I mean, a lot of people said it was a crutch, and I think I proved that wrong by, winning with Gia. I've been doing well with Theo. And, I'll admit it. I feel comfortable playing X-Royce. I've been trying out a new competitor. It just feels weird, but I think that's just because I haven't played it that much. So, I mean, player of the year, I would say that if you take in consideration that I went from being a tag team that couldn't get the job done, almost got there at Origins, took out John P. and Vic the Brick at Gen Con, but, couldn't take on NWO, to, basically, Phenomenal One himself, basically, when I asked in September what, hey, can I get an Underworld shot? He said, what have you done lately? And since then, I kind of used that my mantra of what have I done lately? And just every single week in and week out, I try to, keep on bringing my best game. And I know sometimes it's, there's been lots of controversy with me bringing Tiki Twins to a no-stop tag team, Tornado Tag Team tournament, but I'm sorry. It was in honor of the LOD, and LOD comes out. It doesn't matter if it's a jobber or if it's Midnight Express. They're gonna kill him, and it was what it was. It was a short event, and I got hit in the head with a shovel like 15 times, and I still didn't care. So, but player of the year definitely is on my mind. I do what I can, behind the scenes too for players. Like, if any player, I'll play them. And if we have time, because one of the problems with playing online is it's a very rush, hurry. If I'm playing a Swiss round and I know we have time between, like I played Lance with Gia, and he had questions about Gia build, and I broke it down why I play certain cards, and that bit me in the ass, because then in the tournament he took those suggestions to heart and ended up beating me. But I'm always up for helping players with tech, and it's not me coming at them with, well, I did this because I'm right. It's like, no, I did this because I did it wrong a bunch of other times. If you play a +2 if you have another lead, well, that's great, but you can play, if you want to play that card, you can always play Russian leg sweep and get +2 most of the time anyway. So it's I've been there. I've been there and did the incorrect things, and I just want to help everybody get better, because if other people get better, then I have a chance to get better from them getting better. So it's definitely everybody helping everybody just enjoy the game and have as much, and have it a challenge but also fun.
Correct. I like that. It's all about helping others. That's our main thing.
All right. Speaking of helping others, we do have a question from the Twitch chat, and it is pineapple or sheep.
Pineapple or sheep?
Yes. It's a very popular question on this program.
I swear,
wrong answers get shovels to the face. So, I think is the way it actually works.
You know what? I'm going to say this. You have during Easter, there was always a honey baked ham. So why not a pineapple glazed sheep?
Yeah, combine the best. I like that answer. Very.
I mean,
someone did want to one up it by asking for a hot dog, pineapple, sheep, or dice. So
I'm not a hot dog man, so I'm going to go with
the pineapple crusted sheep.
Yeah. That's better.
Yeah. It's a good answer. Let me see if I'm pretty sure I missed a few more questions while doing this. People making fun of me for being like Schmidt. Any thoughts of getting an alt art hardcore running knee?
Um, you know what? Here's the funny thing, and here's another one of the reasons why I did enjoy playing X-Royce. So every single day that I was in the midst of the pandemic playing X-Royce every event, Royce would actually message me early in the morning because he would, early riser, and he'd message me and be like, "How did the tournament go? How did my event go?" Because he has so much on his plate now that he can't play online. So he vicariously lived through me. So I really enjoyed the fact that I had a fan marking out for me where they actually, now I go into a Zoom chat and I get booed every time I win. So it's nice to have a somebody actually marking out for you to win. Sean's always happy to see me win, but so somebody that has no stake in the game whatsoever. But alternate hardcoring me, you know, I don't think I would want that just because Ricky Riot is coming out. I'm going to focus on, putting finishers on, putting me on the finishers. And there may be some of my signature cards coming out with an alternative Ricky Riot, though. So be on the lookout for those.
Mm-hmm. All right. So we have another question from the Twitch chat, which is this apparently will determine your fate. Cat or dog?
Cat or dog?
Yeah.
Like in general, or what?
I mean, the person's pretty much well renowned as a cat person, Low Neko. So I'm pretty sure there's only one right answer here, but
I'm going to pretend that you gave a follow-up description of that question, and I'm going to go with cat. So then it's a complete right answer.
All right. I mean, that works for me.
I was just gonna be like the old cartoon show and just say both. Cat dog.
Cat dog was a great show.
That was a little bit past my time. And all right. So that's what we got for Twitch for now. If you have anything else, right. Dustin.
And what else I was going to ask you too, which you kind of touched on X-Royce and playing it and learning it. See, I don't know the guy that made him, the real X-Royce that much, and so it's really cool to like you're talking about, he's got your back and everything. It's pretty cool that you were playing him a whole lot more. It kind of spreads more light, I guess you can say.
Oh yeah, and that's the thing. Like, and people were like, "Well, what does X-Royce think about it?" He loves it because now I'm on Gia or I'm on Theo. I don't have a problem with not playing X-Royce. It's just really fun to play. And I enjoy, playing a competitor that I can do things and make decisions even if I'm losing. Because a lot of the times, hardcore running me, Cornbread, Cosmic Punch, American Drop, E-Honda, there's so many ways to get the hardcore running out. Heck, if you put me in a match with Mr. Snap, I don't have a knee anymore. So I like the fact that the gimmick makes me think. Even when I'm losing, I have to think, because with Super Show, I really believe the longer if you make your deck to play the long game, it's going to be more beneficial to play an aggressive way. And also knowing how your deck operates with no cards to draw and what to bury and how to bury it. That's something that I think I've gotten really good at, because my deck's gone and I can just instinctively know, bury this, play this. And, it's one of those things that it's more than just rolling dice. It's not a, EC3 that just draws cards and you hit hard,
Yeah.
So Dottie Dart has a question for you.
Yes.
Any plans if you win Player of the Year?
Lots of soup celebration. I don't know. Honestly, I haven't thought of it. Last year I got excited for Tag Team of the Year and everybody was rooting for that. So I'm just, I just want to win one of the awards so I can shoot funny promos of me going to the bar with a little Owen Hart Slammy. Because if, let's say, I don't know, I were to win Deck of the Year, Deck is really hard to pronunciate under a mask, and it could just leave like crazy things happening where you just interpreted things. It would just be nuts. And I kind of wanted to do that for Tag Team of the Year because it would be great to go around to the bar and say, "Hey, we're the best we're the best tag team around," and But that didn't happen, so I'm kind of just, if I win, I win. If not, I got all these faction packs up here, or all these payoff packs up here that I can drown my tears in. So.
So another question coming from Master Micah: commercial soup or local soup?
Anything that is an IPA. IPA is the equivalent of pumpkin spice for beer drinkers, and I'm actually drinking a Shorts Brew mule beer right now. So yeah, no, definitely no IPA. I'll drink local. I actually went up to a great bar, Supernatural Brewing in Livonia, Michigan, where it was for my birthday, and they actually gave me more beer than I bought. And by the end of the meal, we're actually going to be having a Super Show game day there, and they're giving us the whole side room, and we're just gonna drink soup and play Super Show. So it'll be good fun.
That's awesome. All right, yeah.
Sounds like one hell of a time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, that's one thing about Ricky Riot. He puts the soup in Super Show.
I know.
I was gonna ask you too. Who brought the soup thing? I guess you can say. Did you start that, or?
So the story of the soup. Okay, so we're playing a tournament, and I'm, running behind as always because I would show you now, but like essentially all my decks are torn apart for deck that I was teaching somebody how to play. So I had, I was finishing up my dinner, and then I sat down and I was like, oh, I need a beer. And I'm like, oh, it was actually during a John P. invitation. I'm like, John, I need to get my soup. Hold the tournament. And then I went in the fridge and pulled out a can of beer, and I did not think to open up the beer before I sat down. So I sat down and opened up the beer, and he's like, that doesn't sound like soup. I'm like, yeah, soup's up. And I drank the beer. So therefore, there is one good thing John P. Brought to Super Show is soup's up.
I was kind of wondering where that's coming from. I was hearing it so much, and I was like, where did it?
It's, you know what? It's one of those things where, in Super Show, you try to push gimmicks and you try to push sayings and hashtags, and nothing works. And then all of a sudden, just you fall upon greatness, and that's what you got to do. I mean, there was years that I didn't want to do Macho Man, and I tried other weird gimmicks, and bought suits and briefcases and everything. It just didn't work. And then just Ricky Riot happened. Actually, Ricky Riot was so originally it was Macho Man, and I couldn't think of a way to bring Macho Man into the Create a Competitor competition without infringing a million copyright gimmicks. So I was thinking, and I was going to a Sanarchy, which is essentially you jump on a bus with a bunch of people dressed as Santa Claus and other characters, go downtown Detroit, and do lots of drinking. And I was just kind of like, I should do like a crazy party guy gimmick. And I'm like, wait a minute. And then I thought of a character called Tommy Suicidal that was my old backyard wrestling, where it's really just people playing on a trampoline, competitor. I'm like, well, Tommy Suicidal won't work because this is a family-friendly game. So I kind of just threw them together, and literally 15 minutes before I went and shot it off, and it went over well, and I shot promos with Loudmouth Leo, and it kind of just stuck, and I liked the idea, and I kept on rolling with it. So,
all So we got a question from the Candy Man. Is there any player that you are intimidated by?
Oh man.
I mean, I know early in the pandemic there was always those people that you hated seeing across the computer screen from, but I think you got over most of that.
You know what? I'm going to say something that's going to be a little controversial.
Okay.
But it is what it is. I had this problem when I played competitive Magic where it wouldn't be, I was intimidated by them, but if I'm sitting down next to if I'm sitting across the table or the screen from like John P. or James Booker or Polka or, I don't know, name, Matt Nealon, anybody that's amazingly good, I will be on my A game. I will put down my drink. I'll be like, I cannot make one mistake. So, little side story here. I actually played John P. at Gen Con, and it was like Crowd Meter 4, and I think both of us didn't have a deck, and I just stupidly threw the wrong finish, and he stopped it. And if I just, if I knew what I knew now about, stops and numbers and stuff, I would have beat him. So like now I'm always like, okay, any good player, I have to be my best because I might not get a chance to beat him. But then when I sit down across the way from like a newer player or somebody that I know is a, easy matchup, I'm just more willy-nilly. I'm like, oh, you know what I'm going to do? I'll start the game. I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to win by hardcore running knee. I'm going to win by sharpshooter. I don't care if they have a roll up. I'm still going to do it. I'm still going to win. And I'll just like play down, and then I make some stupid mistake and I get screwed over. So definitely it's underestimating any opponent that I underestimate. As soon as I get in that mindset, I know I'm in trouble because I'm just going to just kind of have, willy-nilly and just start throwing stuff and not worrying about it. But I know that as far as intimidating, I'm always scared to face Matt Nealon because he always likes to play competitors that have the same stat line I do. And I don't like to play anybody without my skill stops. So it's always like clutching my pearls before he reveals his competitor. And then if it's somebody out of the box, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm good. No Johnny Super Show. I'm fine. Let's do this.
That's fair. All right. A couple people saying hello to Pate from Bada out there.
Come on, get more material, man.
Come on. It's Bombada, so he really has no material.
It's Bombada.
All right. So for a Bombada question, our world champ would like to know, how was your top cut match at Origins 2018?
Oh, see? I told you. You know what? I'm going to say this. It was great. I had a great time. And, I played Ricochet and it was fun. I mean, it's one of those things that every single time I go into a tournament now I go to win. And I don't like to have fun in tournaments anymore, and you can blame Bombada for that. No, seriously. No, it wasn't a big deal. It was like, I didn't know what I was doing. I played twice a year. I literally took my cards, put them in a box. I always spent like ridiculous amounts of money on it. I was just like, I'll buy whatever Kickstarter I missed buying. But no, I mean, it was a fun game. I mean, I dominated it, and then I just couldn't put them away because of stupid El Super Hombre.
Yeah, he can be a tough one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Is there any competitor, like before X-Royce and all that you were really kind of, I guess you can say, digging?
I bounced around. I see, that's the thing. Like, I bounced around a lot. Like, I have 6 binders full of competitors. Like, I pick up every Kickstarter. I know I was really liking Johnny Gargano. I got really good at him. I did the same thing as I'm doing with X-Royce, where I just played it a bunch. I went almost undefeated at faction wars with him. I made all the cuts at Grand Gathering last year with him. But last year, the first in person, not Grand Gathering 2-1, whichever. But it just, I think it just. Then I played Immortal, and I like that. And then all of a sudden, just something, my style changed, and I got more control heavy, where I don't play competitors without all 3 skill stops, and I just, 19, 20, and 21 are gonna be my stops. It just is what it is. I don't feel playing. There could be a situation where you could play a 7-1-8, and then you botch the roll at a 5, your opponent hits a 10, and now your opponent, now now your opponent knows that you don't have elbow strikes, and you hit the grapple finish because you ripped it off the top. And I just like to have as many stops as possible. And so it's like my competitors now are mostly, stop stat lines don't really mix unless it's somebody I just want to try it for funsies.
Yeah, it seems like since all this, online events and everything, I've cut maybe 5 or 6 decks, so I kind of feel you there.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. I mean, it's like, and a lot of people don't realize I don't have a local. At one point, we did have a huge local. We had 2 huge locals. One we lost because Gary left, and the other we lost because Super Show was so popular and so over that the store manager got mad because we were taking from his Transformers, customer base, and let's see how that happened. Super Show still kicking, and Transformers is done. And like now we have players, but they're, everybody's, here's Michigan, and they go, oh, well, you have, Finland and the other Smith. It's like, no, man, they're like an hour in every which way. So, it's online is the only way I get to play other than Sean Loeb. And like the problem with Sean is we both know each other's style so well that, testing purposes or just having fun, it just throws it off. It's fun, but we've been doing it for years, so we'd rather just drink and eat delicious Mexican food. So
always fair.
Amen to the Mexican food.
Also, this is probably the point where I remind people in the Zoom chat they can use the raise hand function and ask questions that way as well, if they have questions.
Fox, do you have any questions you want to get into?
With Chris, not really, because I like what people probably don't know is me and Chris used to talk a lot early in the pandemic before I went back to work, and then he went back to work.
Yeah. That's the thing. I'm always like, if you ever want to shoot the shit, I'm fine with it. Yeah. Like that's the one problem I see with the online and why the online is so difficult. You don't have time to talk, and when it's a big tournament, there's 14, 15 people trying to talk over everybody at once. Yeah. So, you can't just find out about something. That was the greatest part of the pandemic for me, where it's like 2, 3 in the morning, I could talk to Cannoli or I could talk to Foxworthy and just, tell them about whatever. We could just talk and find out about each other. But, now with tournaments, as crazy as fast as they are, that's why I think the Among Us is a good thing, because then people can talk about something besides Super Show. Yeah. Because you're always going to run into people you don't like, but you don't know who you don't like and who you just don't know until you talk to them.
Yeah, yeah, and with one of the things with people being back to work, it's like before it could be any day of the week you'd have people just hanging out and chatting. Now it's like sometimes on the weekends, but like it's not the same. I mean, you meet some good people in those rooms, like the Norseman and me and Greg Shockley recently. We closed out a Zoom room at 4 a.m. just talking about stuff, and that was one of the fun. So that's why I don't really have questions for Chris, because we've talked a lot.
I got you. I just wanted to make sure you've been a little quiet.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm mostly reading that. But yeah, X-Ray stopped by to say hello to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I don't know.
And
I think
what
this
are
phone's
some
over.
things you're looking forward to?
Just in life in general, or just Super Show wise?
Super Show or
Okay. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna say just seeing all the new trios is gonna be fun. Definitely, since I do have a trio shot in my back pocket, I can kind of have my pick of the litter. Maybe, I don't know. It changes every week, but I just like the fact that there's a lot more trios happening. Also, the sale by Sammy for the Tornado Tag is going to be great because I can see a lot more tag competitors that take, for instance, the Street Cleaners. You know, bottom of the tier, was only good against Young Bucks and NWO, and now all of a sudden they have a great finisher, and now they're, tier 1, if not better.
Yeah.
And I want to see that. I want to see, all of the, SRG community made. Because if you go down the list of the Tornado tags, I want to say like 70% by now are all fan made. It's not, it's not the, Rising Sun and Snake Pit or whoever. It's not like SRG made competitors. It's the Deans. It's Polka's anything, because he actually probably has more than SRG competitors. With if you wait long enough, he'll throw you in a tag team if you want to or not. But there's like a lot of them coming, and I like the fact that you can look at it and say the Dangerous Alliance kills a lot of gimmicks. Well, if you didn't like what Dangerous Alliance did then, do you think you should have seen the one that I actually stepped in and was like, no, we can't do this. I broke it in 5 minutes. But I like the fact that now people have to think outside the box. They can't go, well, on a 10 or when I hit kick, I draw a card. It's like, well, Dangerous Alliance, it'll be done. Well, how about when I hit a kick, I get to look for a punch card or something like that, where you have to think outside the box. You can, because Tornado Tag, I feel that you don't have to mash two gimmicks together. You can just have one gimmick that's like a gimmick 1.5, where it's a gimmick that in a singles people would say was an NPE or immediately S tier, but a Tornado Tag, it's not that bad. And maybe you give them less finishers, you can kind of wiggle it, but you can have fun gimmicks that make you think and make you think on the deck building. Kind of like I see it where singles is you can pick up a box SRG and you can take the deck and play it, no problem. But with Tornado Tag, you have to kind of think. You have to know, okay, well, I'm going to put this card in because it works with my gimmick, or I'll put these specific cards in because it works with my gimmick. And it's more of like the advanced version of it. And I just really like the idea of that, giving that opportunity to players in order to do that, so they can be like, hey, you know what? I really like this tag team, but I never see there's no finishers for it. Screw it. It's, how much ever, go in with a buddy and you can throw together and make it. So.
Right.
Yeah, we were talking about, earlier you were talking about used to there would only be 2 events a year, but also, in that we had got the Young Bucks, and we went forever. I mean, you were having to use a 60 card deck just for them, and I know how long we were, us older players were begging for this time, trios and Tornado Tags. So I think a lot of excitement comes from us older players that's been waiting forever for these.
I know, and I mean, and it's crazy because like you look at let's say like pivotal moments in SRG history and how important conventions are to this game. And I'll say this, like you have certain shops becoming SRG shops. You have Comic Book World in Louisville, and most recently, and I think most importantly, just because of its location, you have Recess Games, where you not only have people coming from Louisville, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, Michigan, and the fact that they continuously have events and live events, that really pushes it and really pushes more eyes in the game. And the fact that they're showing like storylines and they're doing competitive play and stuff where they encompass all of it. And it's like, honestly, like I see that more as a home store for me than anything else, because I go down to there for more for events. Hate to say it being from Michigan, but I'm still trying to figure out how to take up the whole store and move it over here. But it's and like it's just those players and those play groups that just make it where people get excited about it and people want to play more and create competitors. And as bad as the pandemic, terrible, but like you look at the bright side of it, as you might have players that normally don't have a store be able to play, like the online league. Like the online league was a great idea because you had players that couldn't play normally in a store because they're in Arizona or Wyoming or wherever, and now with online play, basically being forced to figure out how to do it, feast or famine style, you have players that you have the online league, but then you also have online official sponsored tournaments where you could have a player like Grump who only was able to go to like 2 or 3 tournaments. Now people are like, wow, he's a really great player because he's winning all these online ones. He's not just a luck sack because of higher class. So
all right, so we do have a question from the Twitch chat from Mrs. Living Weapon about is there going to be any expansion to the Dangerous Alliance tag team?
Dangerous Alliance. See, I know why she's asking this, and I've sent her money after money. She's a contract performer. I only need her when I need her. No, I don't know. I wouldn't mind seeing our name for the ballot of Faction of the Year, but we've been told that in order to be Faction of the Year, we have to have more than 2. I don't know. It seems, if I can find somebody I haven't seen to piss off in a tournament sometime, which is a very, very short list, we might do that because, I always need a designated driver. I don't know. I mean, it's 2020, so you never know. I mean, it took me forever to find Sean who will deal with me. I'm getting hangry, so.
All right. So we had another question from Master Micah. So you mentioned Lance from the Rising Stars.
Yes.
Who did really well in it. So who do you see doing really well going forward that was in that Rising Stars competition? And it does not have to be Micah, is what he asked. So.
Who's still left?
Oh, I mean, I think he meant overall in the whole tournament.
Overall in the thing. Yeah. Rising Stars, from what I saw, remember, honestly, I'm thinking Angela was in it, right? Candyman Dan's wife?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. I'm going to go with Angela as being probably the breakout star of that. Kid Thunder, he's around the game all the time. He has access to multiple cards. He can, he's going to be good. It's, but Angela, I see somebody as definitely wanting to have that extra edge just to prove herself. I mean, there's not many girls in this game, and the ones that are really good at this game. So she definitely has to, I think she has something to prove. And the fact that she's, fiance of Candyman Dan, that's going to make it a lot easier to kind of have somebody to bounce ideas off of. pick the brain. I mean, you know, I can definitely tell you with, you know, Sean and I kind of not really sharing card pool, but if we need something, we can help each other out. That'll definitely help out with her too as well. And I mean, she plays Stealth Super Ombre pretty good, and I don't do well Stealth Super Ombre, so yeah, out of the mix, I would go with her.
All right, sounds good. So let's see. I believe that was it for the Twitch chats. James Hand was going to ask a question, but he ended up leaving the Zoom room.
Okay.
So.
And you know, you was talking about the Rising Star anyway. I mentioned, I think it was last episode, that, you know, talking about all these Rising Stars and seeing all these new players in online league not online league, but events in general is really coming out too. I mean, I've seen, you know, two newer players in the TA, or actually, I don't want to say two newer, but you're starting to see a lot of names come out more in these online events.
Yeah. Yeah, big up. Stephen Owens waxed the floor with me twice, so it wasn't on my birthday, so it's okay. I only cried a little. No, but I think next year, definitely, if, you know, hopefully the pandemic is over, but online play is still prevalent. I think definitely next year the Rising Stars should be a one-day event, because you see a lot of these Rising Stars coming in and winning events. So they're not really rising, they already rose. So it's definitely something where online, you know, it's like if you have, like namesakes like Eddie Fury and any of the Kings, you know, they're staples in this game. They come back and they have a little ring rust to them. I mean, it's not anything against them. It's just there's a lot of things that's changed. People, you know, before it was 718s and press slams, and what have you heard
Yep.
from the heavens lately? I mean, it'll come back, but, you know, like the whole, like, you know, I know they don't like to say meta, but like, you know, just how people play and being more, you know, playing different competitors and, you know, less competitors. Like in the tournament that I was in Ohio, people were putting up competitors that they thought had negative gameplay experience, or, you know, ones that they thought were really overpowered. And, you know, Rising Sun wasn't on there, and, you know, Gold Standard. And it's just, I think that the newer breed of players are pushing other competitors, and it's harder to figure out coming back how to play against them just like right off the bat, because one, you're trying to figure out how to play against a new competitor, and you're also having to figure out, well, you're asking me, you know, how many cards I have and what are you doing? And, you know, they adapted a lot of the players adapted that from online play to in-person play. So even in-person play, you know, when I went to the event, I played a lot of people that don't play online, and they were just like, why do you want to know that? And I'm like, tell them, I'm like, well, you know, and like, I kind of like quickly tell them, and they're just like, afterwards, they're like, wait, so you can tell what stops I have? I'm like, yeah. And I just did a quick, you know, these are the stops. And they're like, that's crazy. And I'm like, yeah, it's really easy to do. And, you know, I jot down the numbers. I'm like, okay, these are the stops. And, you know, just there you go. So it's definitely, there's less of a learning curve now, with newer players coming in, because there's so much information and so many people wanting to, you know, say why cards are better than others, where before it was you had a deck tech, once a week with John P, and it was, you know, and I remember that John P always got made fun of for playing the same cards over and over again. So before he starts casting stones, he should worry about his own glass house. But he's actually the one that I learned that consistency is king, because I would just start playing the same cards and figuring out which ones worked and which ones didn't. But no, so it's like you have a lot of people throwing out tech and just in the Zoom rooms talking about, well, I like doing this or that, or you know, if you a lot of the times at tournaments that were not, Grand Gathering, you played players that just started playing, so they'd have a deck right out of the box. Now you're playing people with refined decks and refined strategies, so you're learning a lot more, because I firmly believe that if you only improve gameplay in any game if you are not the best player in your play group, in the tournament, and whatever. And it's very hard, and the better you get, the harder it is to learn from players that are less experienced than you. And it's just a lot easier to, new player comes in and, they pick, your brain, they pick, Nico's brain, they pick Foxworthy's brain. All of a sudden they have 10 years experience of Super Show of what to do right. They learn all the good habits and they don't learn any of the bad, I mean, how many times have you had to have a new player that's played for years and they're just throwing stop any's like it's no big deal? Like, oh, you played a Japanese arm drag? I can't have that. Stop any. And it's like, come on, man.
Yeah, it can be crazy that way.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know why anyone would go to me advice. I haven't been in the game that long. We did have a question from X Reese. Apparently, this question is the only reason he got out of bed today, and it's any Ricky Riot competitor spoilers.
Oh, okay. Okay, so I am trying to. So, while I'm at work, let me look around here. Nobody from work is watching. So, when I'm at work, I'm, constantly jotting down, competitor ideas and stuff. Because I know Steve wants to, always does art before gimmick
and text.
Yeah, gimmick and stuff. But I really want to come up with a character that is simple, balanced, and competitive. So I am constantly coming up with an idea, and I go, nope, I already broke it. Nope, I already broke it. Because if I wanted to play something that was more of a competitive deck, I have Gia, I have X-Royce, I got Theo, I got some other people. I can throw stuff out. But I definitely want something that newer players would want to play, and newer players would find enjoyable to play, and experienced players would find it, enjoyable to build a deck around. There's also in the works of Tornado Tag finishers for Dangerous Alliance. Unfortunately, life as it does has gotten in the way. I've had lots of family sick, and it just keeps coming. So I'm and I do appreciate all the tournaments, because when I'm not dealing with all that, I come and I play, and I try to squeeze in as much Super Show as I can. I can't even go. I don't even have time to go in the Zoom rooms anymore on lunch because I'm dealing with other stuff. So, no, Ricky Riot is coming out. Dangerous Alliance finishers are coming out. I mean, I got to deal with Sammy coming out, because I fully expect him to shoot another promo and get Madman Fulton, and then it's going to be, me and Sean towering over them. But
yeah. All right. There's X-Rays also want to know what your favorite animal-based competitor is, and why is it Wooly Bully?
Oh my gosh, animal-based. Oh,
you gotta love that cheetah for the agility 10.
I hate that. That's terrible. And then Sean told him how to use his gimmick properly, which I'm still mad about. I'm gonna say Emberwolf, because I did actually beat the former Underworld champion Poco with Emberwolf for hardcore title.
All right. Kirk Polka also has a question for you of what is your favorite step? And I would assume Dojo Rules.
My favorite Dojo Rules is terrible. I'm going to say Psycho Circus, because that's just so much fun. Everybody, just to let you know, you can stack the champion at Kickstarter, so you can put your finisher that has a spotlight on top and flip it. It's definitely worth the $150, especially if you play X-Royce or Gia or anybody with the spotlight.
Yeah.
So I definitely say Psycho Circus. Second is Cage, just because cage matches are fun. You really have to play around not exposing the fact that you don't have a finish and also getting cards out of your hand.
And obviously not Ring of Fire.
No, Ring of Fire is terrible. I did beat
Everybody
Trump in
hates
Ring
it.
of Fire once, and I don't know. So the reason I don't like Ring of Fire, obviously because all my competitors, flip or draw. Just think that most of this game, you either try to deck yourself wrong lot or flip lots of cards and get what you need from the discard. And Ring of Fire goes against that. I understand that Ring of Fire was put in so people would not play, Gargano or Sage, but now it kind of goes against the strategy. Maybe Ring of Fire would be a lot better if maybe it started at Crowd Meter 2. So if you hit a finisher, it would actually work because, thematically, if you hit a finisher and you throw them into the fire, it's really going to hurt more than just hitting it with no fire. So
That's fair. All right. So as we're approaching the 7:30 mark, we'll take a couple more questions. So Mad Mike has a question. First competitor you played as when you first started out? You just joined. So
yeah, I think actually the very first competitor. Let me think. I believe it was Ricochet. Because the very first big tournament that I wanted to win, I actually I talked to Austin Hogue, former world heavyweight champion. I think it was actually the tournament that he won with Amazing Red, and I asked him what was a good competitor, and he told me Ricochet, and I did quite well with him, and had a great time. I didn't know, I didn't really follow independent wrestling, so. But like I said before, very first competitor was Gold Standard, and I lost to Pat Mulligan on a count out with Gold Standard. I don't know how I did it. I mean, it's not that hard. You roll technique, you hit a finish. But I was like, no, I'm gonna count out because I'm cool.
all right.
Don't be talking about count out now.
Yeah, well, all right. So it looks like Twitch got a little quiet, and it's 7:30. So any final thoughts, Dustin, before we get into these giveaways?
Well, I just want to say, Pate, it was nice having you on here, man. I know you've been wanting on here, and I've been trying to work on the schedule.
Yeah, and and one thing before we go, I know that, I get very competitive, and, sometimes I do play decks that are, seem as, spike in the tournament or whatnot. But here's the thing, if you ever just want to have a fun game, you name the competitor, and I'll love to make a deck out of it. You name, Boy Howdy, Donation, I don't care. I'll play for funsies. And I love the idea of just playing for fun and just shooting the shit. But the thing is, if I'm playing in a tournament that I'm taking not much time I have, I'm going to win because it costs me money.
Yeah. All right. So as the final question before we do the
yes.
Big Jim got in there a little bit. Jim Big Bias. He wants to know why Michigan sucks.
Why Michigan sucks?
Yeah.
Why Michigan sucks? So is he talking about the state?
Last minute heel promo.
Okay, last minute. You know what? Michigan sucks Michigan sucks because I don't know. I feel bad because I don't want to talk about Jim because he's first of all lives in Ohio. Second of all is going to get his head chopped off by Booker Mania with the executioner right across the hurricane. So I don't want to talk bad about Jim, but no, Michigan doesn't suck. It's just It is what it is. I don't know.
All right.
Then this is not my first can of soup. Just FYI.
All right. So at this point, let me close the entries for the giveaway. We have 12 people in it, and which card do you want to do first, Dustin?
It don't matter to me. We can go ahead and do the All-American drop if you want to.
All right. So the winner of the All-American drop will be Sword and Shield. We'll win that one. So
yeah, Sword and Shield.
Yeah. So get a hold. Send Dustin a message on Facebook to get your shipping information, and then for the back rake, the winner will be the SRG boss. So
wow.
SRG boss.
You know what? No, that's lame. That's lame.
I mean, he is a subscriber, and he entered the giveaway.
Foxworthy. Pick somebody else. Find something. I will just ship them something. I have many cards around here. We need to have another winner that is an SRG boss.
All right. So the next winner. Well, Schmidt was going to give a Rainbow Girl out, so we'll let's pick the winner for the Rainbow Girl.
Okay.
Which will be Master Micah. So Master Micah, get a hold of Schmidt for the Rainbow Girl.
Okay, pick somebody else. I want to give away some of these cards.
Yep, and Chris Pate is going to give an award to the phenomenal one, Kirk Polka.
Oh my gosh!
That is fixed. No, I'm just kidding. I'm joking.
So, all right. So, all right. So Kirk Polka, get a hold of Chris Pate to get your prize from him.
Okay.
Micah, get a hold of your Schmidt for your prize from him, and the SRG boss and Sword and Shield. Get a hold of Dustin Garman to get your prize from him.
Also, I was gonna say before closing, Jeff.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, I was talking to Steve, and I'm not gonna get into what we're gonna talk about on there, but I'm supposed to be featured on Talk of the Universe too with Steve. We've got some really cool information that we were wanting to chat about to the public.
All right, that's not vague at all. But yeah, catch Dustin on Talk of the Universe tomorrow. And he's got a lot more notice than when I was on Talk of the Universe. And it's like, hey, can you spoil this card? Hey, why don't you come on and do it?
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Hey, you know what? I've been playing this game for 4 years, and it took winning a CAC to actually get on Talk of the Universe. So, more power to you.
All right, well, thank you everyone for watching. It was a great time. I mean, obviously, if we had like 3 more hours, we could probably fill it with Chris.
Hey,
yeah. As long as there's soup, Chris is willing to talk.
As long as there's soup.
Yeah, so you got any final words, Dustin? Any goodbyes?
Again, Pate, I'm glad to have you, man, and I want to thank all the supporters, Steve, for helping me, and we're gonna start doing these little raffles every week and stuff, and guys, I appreciate the support. I'm actually surprised, we've went actually as long as we have. I've been very happy during this pandemic just to be able to start this show, and I thank a lot of Jeff Foxworthy for helping me do it. But I just want to thank you again, Pate.
No problem, man. Like you said, this is great. It gives everybody a chance. I mean, you have everybody from, pick 11 TJ Marconi to myself, where I'm just a player. I'm not a wrestler. I'm not a photographer. I'm just a guy that likes to play wrestling cards and dice.
I tell you what, in the past weeks, I feel like I've been on a diet. I've ate pickles, soup.
Yeah. Yeah, all right.
It's been fun.
Yep, yeah. It's been fun. All right, well, thank you all, and we will see you next week. Oh, did you want to say who our guest should be next week?
Yes, I'll go ahead and do that. I'm sorry, Jeff. We got so much going on. I will go ahead and say that
subject to change, as always.
Next week, we are scheduled to have the Living Weapons. Amy Deans and Michael Deans, both
All right.
on the show.
Sounds good. All right. Well, and we will see you all next time.
I'll see y'all later.